it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. So today is day 4 in our week-long easy Christmas cards. I hope you've been enjoying it, and I've been having a great time. Today we've got a fun technique. It's called black ice. You've probably heard of it, but I thought we'd give it a try. I hope you'll stay tuned. So the first thing I want to do is you're going to get like a mirror cardstock, and I'll show you what it looks like this. It's called Metallics, and this is die cuts with a view. It's foiled paper basically, and it comes in a variety of colors. I've only seen it in golds and silvers, and I've made one for you already so you could get a glimpse of what we're going for, only we're going to do it this time in silver. And the first one I did is this Silent Night card. Sorry, it got a little stuck there. And with the snowman, hopefully you can see it. And I put a little bit of velvet ribbon on both sides. I thought he needed something on both sides. Anyway, that's the look we're going for, only this time in silver. I'm sorry about the glare. Hopefully it'll go away pretty darn soon. You're going to use Staz On. Now, Staz On is a really tricky ink. It dries out really fast. It's got the greatest smell if you like the smell of almonds. If you don't like the smell of almonds, you'll hate it. But anyway, I'm putting my hand over this so you don't get the glare. It will dry out very quickly, so you always need the re-inker on it. And in this case, you don't want a lot of inking on the edge because you're going to use the edge to go across your sheet. And I have a small piece of scrap that I probably should have gone bigger for, but anyway, you're going to use the end of your ink pad, and I'm just kind of pushing down and going in a straight line across my paper like this. Some people do more, some people do less. It kind of depends on how well inked that pad is on the end and how hard you push. And I'm just trying to get the edges, kind of smearing my edges so that I get a little bit on the edge. Okay, then you're going to want to do your edges like this, just because I think it makes it look like your whole piece is cohesive. One more edge, and you're going to get it on. You trust me, you're going to make a mess. But that's the beauty of it. Now this ink is a permanent ink, and when I say permanent, I mean permanent. I don't mean, oh yeah, it'll come off later. Nope, it's not coming off later. You always want to put this little plastic piece back in there that comes with it. Don't throw that away, you need it. And close it whenever you're not using it, because it's really crucial that it's closed when you're not using it. Okay, so what I'm going to stamp is from a really old stamp set called A Beautiful Season from Stampin' Up. Now I know you guys have been seeing my videos going, what the heck, Sandy, do you sell for Stampin' Up? Here's the deal. When I first started doing any cards with learning how to do things on YouTube, almost every YouTuber was a Stampin' Up rep, and almost all the products they used were from Stampin' Up, so I bought most of the products from Stampin' Up as I went. So I don't want to stop using them just because they're older. I really like them. This one is from 2003. Don't judge. Okay, just, you know, I'm old. I can't help it. But I really like this set. I thought it was really nice. I'm sure you can still find it on the internet, on eBay, as you can find just about anything. But I kind of just wanted to tell you that because I started to think, man, I'm using a lot of Stampin' Up products, and you guys are probably going, what the heck's the deal? So that's not quite dry. Let me dry it with my heat gun. I want to make sure it's dry before I go on to my next step, even though I don't think it makes that big of a deal. The other thing that you want to do is when you're deciding, okay, here's my image. When I'm deciding the way this is going to go, this is a 5 by 5 inch square piece of paper. So if I really want my images to have ground, I might as well do it like this, so that this bottom weird stamping I did, that it looks like grass or ground underneath them. Follow that. hey, it was a method to my craziness. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp it about like that, maybe a little higher, no, maybe a little lower, because I have a ribbon and a sentiment that I really want to go up here. So let's ink this up. Now, I'll tell you another secret about Staz On. If you use Staz On a clear acrylic stamp, it is going to permanently stain it. You won't be able to clean it, and don't use Staz On cleaner on it. It will ruin it. So you really want to be careful what type of stamps you use this with. And I use it on red rubber because red rubber are more durable stamps, and they hold up to Staz On better than the acrylic stamps, the clear stamps. Just a note to the wise. Staz On also is kind of tricky to ink with. I kind of smear it around. I don't know if you can see. I'm just kind of rubbing it, and then I'll stamp afterwards. But the rubbing is so that I can get it into the grooves of the stamp. Even though I did just ink it, it's kind of, sometimes it can fight you. That's all I'm saying. Put it back in the container with that plastic piece, close it up, secure it for good. Now, when I stamp something this big, if you've ever seen me do this, I like to make sure that I stamp it on the image facing down. I'll make sure that weird line is on the bottom. I want to make sure that I'm as close to the bottom as possible. And I'm going to hold it with one hand and rub over it with the other. Yeah, I just painted my nails, and then I did this little project, and of course, what's the point? Now my nails are creepy looking again. I got weird gray spots, and I can't get it off because it stays on. Clearly the name is not a lie. It stays on. You want to make sure you hold it with one hand and ink it with the other. We're going to let it sit for a minute to dry and decide if I hate it or not. And in the meantime, I'm going to put a little bit of stamp cleaner on this stamp. You don't want to let your stamp set when you use Staz On, because it'll make it that much harder to clean it. And who needs that? I'm using a Hero Arts cleaner, and it's kind of strong too. If you use Staz On cleanser, it's very, very strong, and it has an odor that's not very attractive, and neither is this one. It's really strong. I like to go back in with my homemade cleanser, and it is baby shampoo. About a teaspoon of baby shampoo to my whole sprayer of water, and then I'm just going to go over this just to make sure we get as much of that ink off, and to protect our stamp from damage from that cleaner. That cleanser is kind of harsh on stamps. Okay, our next step is all about embossing, and you're going to take a Versamark pad or your equivalent to a Versamark pad, and I'm going to use this one that's from Ranger that I've already gotten a lot of gunk on, so I figured why not, let's just go with it. And you want to make sure your entire image is covered with it, and I kind of rub it like this. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to do it, but that's how I'm doing it. It's important that you cover your entire image with this, and this is clear embossing powder. And I'll tell you a really horrifying story from earlier tonight. I decided I needed to fill my embossing powder, and I found some Tim Holtz that I didn't know I had. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just throw that in there. And after I threw it in, I went, wait a minute, that's not fine. That is super thick embossing powder. And then I tried to separate it back out, but honestly, you can't do that. And so I have some thin embossing powder and some thick embossing powder in this. It's a mystery what you're going to get in the end. You want to heat up your tool before you start on this, because this is going to take a long time to heat set, and the longer you have it heating up before you take it to your paper, the better it's going to be. And I think mine's already pretty hot, but I'm going to do this anyway. Alright, while it's still kind of warm, not screaming hot, but while it's still kind of warm, you're going to want to just kind of bend it back into shape. And I think I'm going to add another layer of embossing powder to it, because over on this side, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of bumpy. I just want to make sure we got it everywhere that we might have missed before. You can hear the big chunks hitting the surface from that. Okay. Keep in mind, this is molten hot right now, so we do not want to play with it until it's a little bit cooler. So I'm going to put all of this back. I had stamped my sentiment for this card, which is Silent Night. So I put some foam, fun foam, behind our image, and I have some velvet ribbon, and I'm just going to put some wet glue behind my velvet ribbon, if I can get it to come out. So I've got my ribbon nice and well glued, and I just want to bend this one more time, and then I'm going to take it and wrap it right there. I think might make it, I think that's a good spot. You can't see it probably right now, but you will in a little bit. And I'm just going to wrap this glued ribbon right around the back like that. Wipe some of the glue off that's on me, because you know it's everywhere. And I'll show you the difference between a fine tip glue applicator that's full and one that isn't. See how easy it is to get the glue out of it? That's what you want. And then the ones that aren't full, like this one, you really have to work at it. So my recommendation is just keep filling them up and you'll have better results. I've had a lot of people ask me about that fine tip applicator I just showed you. I bought mine from AliExpress, and it's called a henna applicating bottle, and I guess they use it when they do henna tattoos, but it comes with maybe 10 or more different size tips. And the only problem I had with mine is mine didn't come with a with any kind of stopper, you know, like a thing you put over the top to keep the ink from drying up. And that was a bummer. So what I did was I created my own. If you create your own with a needle, which is what I did, you have to make sure your needle is a it won't rust. I think it's for silk, but when you go to a fabric store and you tell them you need needles that won't rust, they'll know exactly what you need, and they'll sell you a pack of, I don't know, 100 or whatever, and that makes it so that you'll be able to not have your glue get yucky. If you use one that isn't a non-rust, I don't know what they call it, one that will rust, you're going to end up with black glue, and you'll know as soon as you get this weird black image, or like at the very top you'll see there's this weird black halo of goo, is what I can call it, and you'll know that is because you didn't do it right. You got to make sure you didn't do that right either. And then I have this little Silent Night, and I think I want to put that up on foam dimensionals 2. Look, 6 came off at once. Just the right amount to shove on this thing and make it work. Huh, what are the odds? I did line my 2 cards with a white piece of paper inside. I didn't put a sentiment on them because I like to be able to write notes when I send cards. I know a lot of people just like to sign their names. I'm a note writer. I like to write a little note. Put that right there. And I'm going to hold this down one more time so that we can keep it all so it stays flat. Okay, then here's the inside. As I said, it's white. And let me get my other one. I kind of like the gold. If I was picking, I think I would choose the gold over the silver. There's something about the gold that's, I don't know, it's appealing to me. I think it looks nice. And I kind of like the smaller size of that card too. I like the size difference. And this one still keeps trying to come apart. So let me put some things on this to hold it in place, and then I'll come back after everything's glued down and we'll be able to see how it turned out. So here are our two cards using the black ice technique. I hope that you enjoyed them, that you'll give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Don't forget, tomorrow, day 5. I'm excited. Hope you are too. Bye-bye.